Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Maximum Medicine Radio, The Healing Hour, with me, Dr. Sharon Martin, here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This is the hour of healing power. In this live call-in show, The Healing Hour, I'm going to take your calls and help you get started on your way to your maximum potential. So come on, settle in, listen up, and I'll take your questions head on. Together, we'll find practical wisdom and understanding about what ails you. In The Healing Hour, we'll start your day off right. Insights and practical health knowledge and concepts for how you really live. I'll take your issue and help guide you with a blend of scientific medicine and the esoteric, including shamanic energy medicine. So let's shake off some of that mystery and get started on how to really live. Together, let's get unstuck. So come on and join in, join up, and let me help and let go of what holds you back from being the maximum you the world needs. Take down this call-in number, 1-800-930-2819, and let's get started on the Healing Hour right now. Hey everybody, I'm Doc Martin. I'm with Dr. Pat, the Healing Hour, and we're going to shake off some mystery around power animals.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love power. Now remember, that's power, not force. I love power and I love animals, and you put the two together and bammo. So yeah. let's do a little bammo today.
Yeah, and it's powerful beyond really, what people can even imagine. I mean, I know you're going to share some stories. I know I'm going to share some stories, but also we have a very special deck that we're also going to use for people that want to come in and find out what animal today is calling to you. What does it mean? And then Doc Martin is going to give you her absolutely straight talking shaman perspective on it. So it's an exciting show. We need to call in the healing today.
We could call in lots of it. So why don't we start, Pat? Why don't you pick a card to start us off?
All right.
And you get ready and get that rolling, and I'll just talk a little bit. Power animals were a big deal to the indigenous because, unlike the way we operate in our modern world today, the indigenous were intimately linked with nature. They knew the movements of the animals in the forests, the animal migratory path. They were able to watch for the signs of disruption in the weather because the animals changed. Animals and birds are animals, right? So when we energetically link up with animals, we are reinforcing our original connection to the earth and to nature. And that in and of itself brings us a lot of power. So Pat, did you pick one? Who are we going to open with today?
Well, I want to just say to everybody, there's a couple ways that you can connect with us. One of them is to call into the show, say hi to Benny, 1-800-930-2819. Definitely you can do that. The other way, I think Olivia and or Jacob and or Daniel, or all three of them, are monitoring Facebook. And all we need to know is just type something in there and just let us know that you want us to pull a card for you, and we will get at it. It's going to be interesting to see what I picked today, because I know there's a couple of things that have been a bit heavy on my mind for today, but a couple of really cool, insightful things that are happening. So where do you want me to pick it? Top, middle, bottom? You get to call the spot. All right.
Middle.
Well, close to middle as I can get.
Okay.
This is interesting. This card popped up before, and it's the turkey. I love the turkey, right? Turkey is one of those cards that when people hear about it, they get confused. But turkey is a powerful card. Do you have any experience with turkey?
Well, let me tell you about turkey.
Little turkey.
Let me tell you about turkey. I live in Southeast Pennsylvania right now. It's spring gobbler season. Turkeys are phenomenally known with the Native Americans, at least those in the woodland Indians on the East Coast, as a spiritual connection, very powerful spiritual connection. And if you're walking in the woods and you find a turkey feather, that's a big deal. And they're very tuned in to the seasons. They're very good at demonstrating their beauty. In fact, I don't know if anybody knows this, but when we were deciding to make the eagle our national bird, Ben Franklin, who was in Congress at that time and very important statesman, and he was kind of annoyed because he considered the eagle basically one step up from a vulture. But he thought the most magnificent bird and the one that should be our national bird was the turkey. So tell us what it says about turkey, Pat.
Well, turkey is one of these ones where it is a giveaway, and it's referred to as a giveaway. And by the way, the deck that I'm using, I just want to give credit to the people. And the deck that I go to, for those of you out there, I just want to hold that up for you, right? And give credit to Jamie Sands and David Carson. That deck has been around for a long time. I know they've updated it. But turkey is all about giveaway, right? And it's thought to be a giveaway eagle. So it's interesting, right? Because anybody that picks the turkey automatically thinks, geez, I wish I would have gotten this. And so I love how this is, that we're talking about, turkey being the medicine of many, many, many other saints, many other people that we know in history. And it says this: if you have turkey medicine, let me just read it. If you have turkey medicine, which we pulled for the show today, you have many virtues, right? Celebrate if you have turkey medicine, is what it says, because it says that your virtues are many. You have transcended self. You act and react on behalf of others. You aspire to help those who need help. This is not out of some sense of self-righteous moralization or religious guilt. Help and sustenance are given by turkey out of the realization that all life is sacred. I mean, hello, right? We're thinking about that. And it goes on. It talks about, it is knowing that the Great Spirit resides within all people. It is the acknowledgement that what you do for others, you do for yourself. Turkey medicine rests in true ego and enlightenment. Doing unto others and feeding the people, right, is the message of the true spiritual system. So that's a little bit about turkey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
And I did pull the card this way. So I literally pulled it
upright.
Not right. Yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, it's interesting because turkeys are out in when it's starting to get spring and the farmers' fields are already cropped, the corn is cut down and stuff. And then out come the turkeys in a flock. And literally all pairs of parents are taking care of everybody's babies. So you can see a whole group of them come out of the trees or onto a field at dusk. And it is a very communal feeling. You don't usually see a lone turkey. Sometimes you see a gobbler who, I don't know if he got his hormones mixed up, but he'll be running across the road and then fly into the trees. But mostly it's a group of them, a flock of them. So I like that idea of community, and I don't know, I have a wonder if that expression about giving of oneself for others has to do with the fact that we use turkey for Thanksgiving. So thank you, turkey. But I just love the idea that animals have energies that we can really learn from and resonate with and incorporate. And I think that's the beauty of talking about power animals or animal totems or spirit animals.
What is your experience, if I could ask? I mean, let's talk about why we're talking about this topic today.
Okay.
And let me ask you, this is something that was near and dear to your heart. And I want to know from your perspective, how you have been touched by the power of aligning or creating alliances, right, with our animal friends. So let's talk about some of the totem spirit animals, and how deeply embedded this is in our patterns of cultural consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what's also we're recognizing, and if we want to be really honest, all of us have indigenous ancestors, even though it's more common to think of the indigenous of this country as being brown skinned Native Americans. Um, those of us who are white have indigenous in Europe, um, in Ireland, in the Celts. So all of us, I think, resonate with that old way of connecting, their old way of walking on the earth, which is understanding the energies around us, those of the animals, of the forces of nature, of the actual topography, the geography. And those connections are what energize us, nourish us, feed us. Um, I'll tell a story about myself, and let me just check in with you first, Pat. Do we need to look at a break, and or can I keep
I think
going?
keep rolling.
Okay, I'll keep rolling. So those of you who've listened in before, I'm a physician. I work in rural Pennsylvania, and I trained in shamanic medicine and subsequently with other energy healers. And I've been on a journey myself that I've cataloged in part in the book that I just finished writing titled Maximum Medicine. And I'm a girl of science, or I was anyway. I didn't think I had any intuition. I didn't know that I had any psychic ability. I didn't know that I could connect with the other realms of for a really deep, um, powerful, energized life. But when I started studying shamanism, and subsequently when I started studying energy medicine, the connection to the earth was always reinforced. And for me, when I first connect to anything in nature, I'm drawn to the animals. I live on a small farm that it's not a working farm, but I have a horse and a miniature donkey and two pygmy goats I rescued and chickens and barn cats, and I couldn't imagine it any other way. But how did these animals change my life? And how did connecting with a power animal wake me up and open my eyes? And I'll tell you a story of my spiritual learning and something that happened that really um, woke me up. And I didn't necessarily ask for it. So it's about 2008, and I'm going with a group of like spiritually minded women to Sedona. And I described this incident in my book. And we are going to have a spiritual retreat, be in the Red Rocks, enjoy that energy. And we hook up with a man there, Dr. Yap Van Etten, who knows the ley lines and the vortexes of the rocks around Sedona. And he takes us on a hike. And we go up onto a mesa on top of the Red Rock. And it's probably about 1 in the afternoon. It's April, so it's hot up on the rock, but it's not otherwise scorching. And he sits us down on a rock that he has intuited as being connected in a ley line to the deep earth. And he sits us down and he brings us on a meditation. And he first asks us to connect to the galaxy. I believe we connected to the constellation of Cassiopeia, which truthfully I don't even remember much about. And then he asks us to connect to a dragon that he has met. He's written a book about it, the I think celestial guardians. Well, I'm not a deep meditator. My mind usually can't go that quiet, but I'm sitting on this beautiful red rock in this gorgeous energy that he has set up for in the group. And when he says connect to the dragon, I felt the earth move. And I don't mean that literally like an earthquake. I mean a force coming in that was so powerful. I wasn't sure if I should jump up and run or what I should do.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel afraid. It was interesting. It was a force that was so otherworldly and so powerful. I thought I might have been afraid and been, freaked out, but I wasn't. And it was this deep connected feeling. And my mental mind went to knowing that the Chinese revered the dragons. They considered them very powerful beings. And that, okay, so maybe dragons are in mythology. I can live with that. I could deal with a dragon, my analytical mind going haywire. And then I realized that what I was feeling was a real force of energy. So I thought, this is pretty cool. I like it. It felt good. And in my little bit of shamanic training I've had by then, I said in my mind to the dragon, will you come home with me? Will you stay connected to me? Subsequently got back home, Pennsylvania. A couple weeks later, my sister was having some difficulties and I offered to do a shamanic session. And we were there quietly, and I'm doing this in my mind energetically. And I reached a sticking point and I said inside my mind, I'm not getting anywhere. I really, really need some help. Dragon, are you here? Will you come? All of a sudden, boom. I mean, boom, boom. Big dragon that I had connected with in Sedona, but with her were two smaller dragons, so 3 different colors of dragons. Big green one that I had met before,
Wow.
small electric blue and dark purple.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
Wow.
And there's a shimmer in the room and an otherworldly sense. And I thought, wow, I have really connected to something here. Wow, holy moly. So after the session, I asked my sister, how do you feel? She said, I feel great. And she said it was really powerful. I said, well, I think that's because the dragons came. She said, oh yeah, 3 of them. So I said, what do you mean 3 of them? She said, well, they came. There were 3. There was a green and a blue and a purple. Well, I had not said anything to her. I had not told her about it. When you have moments like that, and I think we've all had moments like that, but for me, moments like that, and what's so powerful about connecting in spirit to forces of nature, and what I teach you guys to do when my book comes out, and if you want to get it, you get to see and feel the unseen world. And it is rich and full and millions of times bigger and with more potential than what we walk in every day.
Yeah.
And here I had validation that my sister felt the dragons, saw them as I saw them, and I had not said a word. And, I didn't consider myself telepathic or anything like that. And then just to close up about why that's so beautiful of an experience. You guys may remember about a year ago, I had maybe it was back in August, a session where I brought in a Mongolian shaman live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in the preparation for that session, I had a session with this shaman by Zoom. He'd never met me before. And through the translator, he said, what spirits do you connect to? I said, oh, the dragon. I'm sorry, I said the bear and the jaguar. And the translator shaking his head and he says, no, he says, that's not right. And I said, well, maybe it's the dragon. And the translator said, oh yeah, he already saw 3 of them around you. So you've got the energies that you have connected to. And when I have experiences like that, then I know that things are real.
Yeah.
That they're, because here's a guy in Mongolia, 13-hour time difference, never met me before, over Zoom, which is hard to do energetics over Zoom. You have to really connect to the stream of energy, not through the camera. And he sees dragons around me. That's, I can't argue that. I can't say, oh no, it can't happen. That's, these are experiential moments that change your life. So when I say to you that connecting to power animals will change your life, I mean it.
Yeah. I think when we're talking about this and we're talking about how to use them, this is what becomes so cool about this. Once upon a time, and I bet you must have experienced this too a little bit, right? Where, somehow you're drawn to learn more. In my case, it was really expand my awareness of spirituality, what it is. What do I believe? What do I believe, right? And we have events like the one you just described, and your draw to it, your attraction to it. And a lot of times to other people, it doesn't make sense. For example, if you walked into Linda's house in New Jersey, you would be struck, but you would think, if you walked into Linda's house, you would think, number one, someone from Asia lives here. That would be one. And two, completely just dragons everywhere, right? What, dragons on tables. Yeah. And yet Linda doesn't have to explain it to anybody. She's just drawn to it. But also what you shared is there's messaging that comes from our animal friends. I think let's talk about that, because there's making a connection, and then there's what happens with that connection, right?
Right. And I think, first of all, the connection really makes you drop all the doubt you have about the unseen world. So that's important in and of itself, because that suspend disbelief. If you can just for a minute allow yourself to think that it could be real, and then the veils fall away, you experience such a deep potency that there's no going back. But you have to drop that rigid, this is the only way it is the way my human eyes see it and the way the rest of the world tells me it is. Then the next step that comes is, what does that do for you? How does that help you? What's the value in it? Well, there's many, many steps of value. And one of them, the first is, I think it opens to a perspective, to a bigger, broader perspective. And that's what the shamans, indigenous shamans did, is they opened to so many perspectives. And in the realm of healing, the perspective existed, the possibility existed that this disease did not maintain, that this disease disappeared and the person was whole and healed. So when you're able to hold the reality of something different, in other words, if you have multiple destiny lines and you're able to get off where everything is telling you this is going to happen, this person is sick, it's doomed, they're going to die. If you jump over to maybe the lesser potential but still probable destiny line, and you grab onto that one, it's a whole different view of the world you see. And what you see downstream is the healed state. That's valuable. And I think that's what's hard for doctors to do, Western doctors. I'll tell you a story. I had a person who had a nodule in their thyroid or in that area, lymph nodes. They had an ultrasound. It was like, oh, this is bad. We better get a biopsy. This really looks like a lymphoma. I sent her to an oncologist. Oh, they look at the ultrasound. Oh, yeah, this is a lymphoma, but don't worry. It's smoldering, meaning it's not burning bright. It's sort of still on fire, but low ashes. It's going to be with you a long time. Don't worry. Well, who's going to not worry when somebody told you you have a lymphoma in your neck? Well, the guy didn't do a biopsy, which I don't think you should make, statements and predictions based on your guess. But anyway, somehow she rallied to go find a specialist in a bigger university setting who automatically said, no, we're going to do a biopsy. Well, what does it turn out to be? It turns out to be an autoimmune condition called sarcoid, not a tumor at all, not a lymphoma, not a death sentence. So as a physician, just saying, let's get a biopsy says out loud, yeah, everything's telling us we're heading to cancer, but I'm not so sure. Why don't we take the road less traveled and head to something else? If a physician can hold that possibility for the patient, it leads to different testing. It leads to how you talk with them. It leads to hope in your voice, and it leads to them grabbing on to that possibility and calling in all of their guardian angels, their spirit guides, all of their unseen forces, and rallying it to put all the momentum onto this other railroad track. I think that's critical. We have to do that. We can't box ourselves in. What do you think, Pat?
I think that, we're going back to what indigenous people knew all too well. And that is that there is an innate wisdom inside of all of us, but also many, 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 many times we've seen that innate wisdom also tallied with along with some other evidence. And that's what we don't talk about that often. We don't talk about how indigenous people, how shamans, how people that walk the earth used everything available to them, everything available to them. And, that's really, the point that we're talking about. Science, the bridge. This is what your show's about. It's building that bridge between science and metaphysical. You're not saying take one, throw out the other. You're saying there's a bridge. And many, many cultures tapped in to the spirit animals, tapped in, lived and breathed by them. We do it innately. People see a dragonfly. Not everybody will relate to a dragonfly, but I relate to them. They land on my hand. I talk to them. It is one of my little signs. But when we come back, I want to talk about something interesting. Can we use the power? Can we use the power of our animal friends, the winged ones, the two-legged, the four-legged? Can we use their energy to heal? This morning, I did a prayer for Ukraine, and I pulled a card from this deck. When we come back, we'll talk about that card, but we'll talk about the value of that card and the stories that will help us and do help us craft our day, our lives, and change and transmute energy faster than you can imagine. Dr. Sharon Martin, if you want to find out more about Doc Martin, go to drdrsharonmartin.com. When we come back, we'll tell you what this means to connect with animals and how can you call upon them for many, many, many things. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. This is a very, very special edition for those of you out there, a very special edition of the Healing Hour. This is Dr. Sharon Martin's show. And today we're talking about power animals, your sacred allies. And boy, aren't they, in so many ways. If you want to find out more about Sharon, go to drsharonmartin.com. If you want to work with Sharon, if you want to create a blessing for yourself, something beautiful, give Sharon a call at 833-940-1882, or you could always email her at Sharon@drsharonmartin.com, and doctor is DR. First of all, let me just mention, writing a book is a journey, and that's what Doc Martin is kind of finishing up here, is the last kind of leg of submitting the manuscript into the publisher. And so we're excited about having Maximum Medicine, which she created, and the Maximum Medicine way, be that of sharing with all of you. And you'll hear stories in it. You'll hear about this amazing, approach and wheel she's created, so that we can identify spiritual elements. We can identify things like directions, and we can identify and align them with parts of our body, because everything, and in spirituality, and everything is connected. Today, we're talking about our animal friends. If you'd like to have insight into yours, or would like to know who yours is for today in today's message, please give us a call, 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. Sharon, let me kick it off by saying, I was telling you during the break that I had pulled a card, because what's going on in the Ukraine is, I don't even have words for it. The other day, I was looking at photographs of women that were in a birthing maternity, our language, hospital. Mm. And I was so struck by this, and the excuses that we bombed it because we thought there were military, and of course there are military in the birthing war, because you were bombing the Ukraine. But the images that came out, I thought, I need to see what animal wants to come forward. What is the healing? What is the message? And when I pulled from this same deck, I got the blank card. And the instructions is, you can select your own, or you can pull another, or you can do both. And then I pulled the dog. And this is how powerful, right? When you read about the dog is about loyalty. When you hear about the Ukrainian people and what they're saying, and the power of the Ukrainian women, they are so absolutely clear about their loyalty to each other and what they're willing to do. But then I read about this, and I was just blown away. Dog has been considered the servant of humanity throughout history. If person carries dog medicine, he or she usually serving others or humanity in some way. Here you will find the charity worker, the philanthropist, the nurse, the counselor, and the soldier. Mm-hmm. Dog was the servant soldier that guarded the tribe's lodges from surprise attack. Dog is the medicine that embodies the loving gentleness of best friend and half-wild protector energy of territorial imperative. Now, you don't make this stuff up. No. I could have picked, there's a lot of cards in this deck, but that's the power of it, right? That's the power of it. And I know you must have stories like this. I'm actually going to post this. We're in conversation with several of the members of the Ukrainian parliament to do a show with them. And what is your relationship to gathering and connecting and getting messages like that?
For me personally?
Yes.
In what? Explain that a little bit more.
What are your stories? What are your stories with connecting to your animal friends?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just saw the chat. We have a caller, so maybe after I'll talk about this first, and then want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you something where I really opened to connecting to the power animals. In the training, the Healing the Light Body training of the Four Winds, the shamanic training, there's 4 directions that we train at. And we were in the training of the West direction, where we were really clearing out foreign energies, really cleaning our energy field. And we were connecting deeply. We were doing the archetypes of different animals. And I was feeling very connected to Hawk. And I had been working with Hawk for a while. And I'm coming home from this conference in Connecticut, coming down through past the Poconos and coming on a back road. And all of a sudden, bam, in my windshield, big, I knew it was a big bird, hit and then fell off onto the shoulder. Stopped the car. I'm so upset. How did I hurt a hawk? Or couldn't have been an owl. It was daytime. Got out, looked around, looked in the shoulder, couldn't find it. Backed the car up, still couldn't find it. Looked up in the field a little bit. Did it get hurt and bounced off? Still couldn't find it. Little feather and a little blood on the windshield. Well, I'm very, very upset, but I spend 5 minutes looking. Get back in the car, a little bit shaken. And I drive ahead, and not 2 miles ahead is a fatal accident, multiple cars that had literally just happened. And I knew at that moment that had I been there 5 minutes prior, had I not stopped the car and had a little detour looking for a wounded hawk, I would have been in that accident. And at that moment, I felt that I had been assisted by the energies of Hawk, that wound, that hitting me stopped me enough to keep me from being in a bad accident. So moments like that, I can really feel the benefit of taking in, aligning yourself and being allies with all of the power that's out there in the world. If you can align yourself with it, then your limited scope of influence really, really magnifies and expands.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the power of connecting with these other animals and their energies.
Yeah. I mean, this is really what we're talking about today, is to really understand the power of what's available to us. Let's go ahead and go to the phones. Mr. Benny, who do we have calling us today?
Jack calling from San Diego area. Hi, Jack. What can we do for you?
Hey, Jack.
Hi. Hello, ladies. Very fine to talk with
Hello.
you. Interested in knowing what my spirit animal might be.
Awesome. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to pull, of course, from the deck, and you're going to tell me, do you want me to pull from the top or the middle or the bottom? Or just pull it?
How about the bottom?
All right, you got it. Is there anything you are that you relate to? Is there any type of energy with animals that you relate to?
Determination, freedom. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Well, that's okay, because here's what you've gotten. I'm going to show you. This is a really powerful card in a sense, based on what you said.
Back it up, Pat, just a little bit there.
Is that better, Benny?
Now a little bit in. There we go.
It's the moves.
Thank you, Pat.
It's in the book I'm referencing, it's number 11. And this is about self-esteem, right? This particular animal energy is about self-esteem, right? And what it does is it's the call of the male moose. And, it's really awesome when you think about this creature, it's really incredible, right? But there's a wisdom that happens throughout this. And then there's the moose cow that displays a self of self-esteem. So moose people, and apparently you must have this in your cards, have the ability to know when to use the gentleness of deer and when to activate the stampede of the buffalo. Do you see what I mean? It's one of it's a indigenous grandfather warrior. And so usually moose medicine is found in the elders. It's found in people that have walked the earth. It's the elders and honoring tribal law. But the task is for you to write down, and this is the hardest part of really accepting moose energy, and then Sharon's going to jump in. It is for you to write down all the things that you can love about yourself as you progress in life. And that's very difficult for people to do. Does that make sense to you?
I think so, yes.
Sharon?
So Jack, the feeling I was getting is that something's got you off kilter. And maybe, as Pat's picking up on, doubting yourself and having to tap into your well of determination to continue to go forward in the way that you know how to do. And I think that's moose is a perfect power source for you, because moose, I was going to say meese. Anyway, mooses don't stand down. They do not stand down. Now, do they always stampede you? No, but you never saw a moose back up. At least I don't think so. My girlfriend lives in Newfoundland. I'll have to ask her, but I don't think a moose backs up. So when I heard you say, determination, that was the feeling I got, is that maybe you're tapping into that right now because you started to doubt yourself, or you felt a little off balance.
What do you think?
Wonderful. I think that's very interesting. Moose are obviously very intelligent and wonderful and ancient and wise, and I'm very proud to be connected with that.
Yeah, it is powerful. And what Moose will call you to do is call you to really explore this part of yourself. Moose is one of these characters, right, that doesn't let us off the hook easily. I have a couple of totems that I feel let me off the hook a little bit, but Moose is the one that's going to hang on to you until you fully raise yourself up and see yourself as nothing but pure perfection. Does that make sense?
It does, indeed.
Yeah. I wish I could say it's one of those animal totems where you can just lay back and just enjoy it. It wants you to acknowledge and fully step into the truth of who you are. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jack.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you, and I wish you all the best.
You betcha.
Thank you.
I have another request. I'm going to go to it right now. Pam has asked for, she wants to know what power animals are connected to her. And what's fascinating about this is, as Pam was reaching out to us on Facebook, it's interesting. She said, what power animals are related to her? And out of the deck, there are several. But Pam, you will be blown. And I picked these cards randomly. One of them was picked. Two of them fell out. The card that was picked, Pam, if you're listening, butterfly. And she's probably jumping out of her seat right now about that, right? Because there are no mistakes. But one of my favorites, and Sharon, I think you're going to relate to this, is ant. Anytime anybody gets the ant, there are a couple of these, Sharon, that if somebody says to you, if a shaman says to you, hello, your animal totem or your totem is an ant, you want to go get another shaman. Most people are like, I got to go get another shaman. But
no, I think this is good.
It's
Well,
very
first
powerful.
of all, the only thing you've said what you said that I was connected, what are related to me? So that search for community, that search for connectedness. Ants are powerfully connected to each other. Their actions are for the tribe, not for the individual. And nowadays, in the way the world is going, Pamela, I can see how you might be yearning to know what are your bigger connections, because getting through this by yourself, if you're anything like me and the rest of us, it's not easy to go forward by yourself. You need your tribe. So Ant is really cool in that it's bringing out that
Mhm.
recognition and clarification that it takes a village.
Yeah. And you know what I love about these two cards, butterfly and ant, believe me, they go together. And Pam, butterfly, for those of you who don't know, butterfly is one of the 4 transformation totems, the 4 major transformation totems. Ant is about patience. Now, when you put those two together, it is our Achilles heel. When we know we're in the middle of transforming. I mean, you're the author
And
of a
boy,
book.
we don't want to wait.
Oh my gosh, no.
We
Yeah.
want that cocoon to open right now.
Yeah, Ant would have been, we would have wanted to pick alligator or something, but butterfly and ant. And then you know what came out for her? And honestly,
I
I
like
didn't know
this.
there were more. 2 of these. So you get to pick one for Pam, butterfly, ant. Now,
Top.
Sharon, you get to pick one.
Top in the top of the deck. Just a little ways down.
Elk.
Majestic. Yep.
Elk. Okay, and the next one?
Oh, because it said pick 2 more. Mhm.
Well, 2 blank ones came out. And then, by the way, I picked another blank one. So Pam, what
Oh
the
my
message
golly.
is, I want to tell you, Pam, what the message is, we're going to give you a couple of these, but this is telling you there's one that wants to be chosen by you, right? But I'm going to pick the 4th. So we have elk. Oh my gosh, what is the message
Well,
on
you know,
this?
the other thing I'm thinking is we're being told to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yep.
And that's part of transformation. What takes patience is
Yep.
to take ourselves into the deeper levels. Don't stop at the first superficial level. Okay,
Look,
tell me what you got.
I got elk and then turtle. And you know, these 4 cards, if we had more time, we could talk more about them. But you're really looking at when you put all 4, and if you put them in the 4 directions, it makes sense, right?
Mhm.
Transformation, ant is patience, but enormous persistence. Elk is about stamina, right?
Mhm.
Right? That talks to itself. And then the last one,
And
wanna
about blowing your horn when you deserve to congratulate yourself.
right. And so 9 and 10. 9 was butterfly, 10 is turtle. Turtle is about Mother Earth. Wow. Sharon, what
We
a great
always come
show.
back. We
What's the
always
message
come
with
back.
Pam for all of those?
Well, I think if we're reaching, as I'm sure Pam is, for a transformation, for looking ahead at where your path is going to take you, who do I go with? Like, what is my tribe? What energies are going to join me? And to dig in, don't just take the first level, take it deeper. And turtles are also patient. Remember, slow and steady wins the race.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the earth has the source, and as it has the energies of the animals to feed you, to nourish you on your journey, and to help dissipate any of your anxiety, because the human world's got a lot of that. So I think you're on the right path, and I think you've got resources, and hopefully this gave you a taste of what those are.
Oh my gosh, Sharon, thank you for this great show. What's your
It was
personal
really
message?
fun.
It was totally fun. And Pam can always get a hold of you directly and explore this more. Pam,
Yes.
you can schedule time with Sharon and she can explore this more with you. How do people get a hold of you?
Best way is to email me, Sharon at drdrsharonmartin.com. I would love to work with you. I think, to sort of sum this up, in order for us to have enough internal power to move forward and to bring our world into being, because we want to transform the world. What we've got going now isn't working, and we need to shift it. And to do that, we need to amplify our personal power. And one of the ways to do that is to gain power from making allies with the unseen world, and that includes the power animals. And one of the ways I think Pat's deck is beautiful, this medicine card deck, get that deck and sit and in meditative space, draw yourself a card and reflect on that, and reflect on the energies that that animal can bring you, and line up with it. Because when you're aligned, you are gaining power of the earth. And these animals are integrally linked to the life force. And that's what we need right now, is to really tap into that forward moving evolutionary energy. So it's wonderful. Join up with them. They are your sacred allies. I think you'll be very happy that you did join up.
And the message I got is there was a question came in, and I'll answer it quickly. I mentioned snake several times. You're wearing a snake scarf. You must be watching. What does snake mean? Wow. Snake, one of my favorite words, transmutation. And we'll probably do a whole show on maximum medicine, transformation, and transmutation, because those are two powerful T's outside of transformation.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Talk radio. Dr. Sharon Martin, go to her website, drsharonmartin.com. I'm Dr. Pat. Benny, thank you. Jacob, thank you. Olivia, thank you. And all the people behind the scene getting us those messages, Daniel, Linda, all of you, thank you. And to the best audience on the planet, the best audience on the planet. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Maximum Medicine Radio, the Healing Hour, with me, Dr. Sharon Martin, on transformationtalkradio.com. We're going to be together the third Wednesday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific for candid, honest conversations to help you change the way you think about healing, about yourself, about your life. Did you hear your answer on the show? Well, I will be with you next month, ready for all your questions, from energy medicine to traditional healing and beyond. Healing is flow, movement, and destination. But are you stuck? What is your true destiny line? Listen in, call in to let the world know. Together, we'll choose what brings you into healing and let you call in all the power of the universe to act on your behalf. Reclaim your path. To learn more about me, Doc Martin, and Maximum Medicine, the Healing Hour, visit www.drsharonmartin.com. See you all next time.